you could hear me cough because the microphone is on. Just about ready. We are counting down. It is now noon, and we are not late for our very important date. No time to say hello, goodbye, because we're late, but we're not. We are here right on time. This is the Mad Hatter, Creating Calm with the Mad Hatter, and one of the reasons why I've chosen this motif, like this hat, is that we are all mad here. Sometimes the world just seems like a crazy place. It does indeed. And I have my Mad Hatter cup here for my coffee, so I might just enjoy a cup and share it with you. And today's program is on religion and spirituality. And as you know, I oftentimes wear hats during the program that sort of represent what we're talking about. However, I didn't have a lot of religious hats. I'm a rabbi, so I have a kippah, which is the skull cap. But really, when I put it on, you couldn't see, so I thought, go without the hat. Go without the hat. We'll put on some more lights, though. We can go with the lights. I had them on, but I was schwitzy in here. It was like too schwitzy. You know, there's a joke about the kippah. Some of you may know it as a yarmulke. There were two little boys in synagogue and with their grandfather. And the one little boy, the older one, was going to read something from the prayer book. And in order to do that, according to Jewish tradition, he had to have his head covered by his kippah. And sometimes you might see if somebody doesn't have their kippah, they will put a hanky on their head or a Kleenex. So the grandfather said to the younger boy, Shmuley, put your hand on your brother's head because he's going to read this prayer. And Shmuley said, what am I, my brother's kippah? Well, that's just my own little joke here. Anyway, religion and spirituality always cause a challenge for me. And please know that I am not against religion. And I'm hoping I don't hear tar and feathers coming through my door to take me away. But I would like to ask questions and have you open your minds to think about the good and the bad and the ugly of religion and compare it to spirituality. And a very quick thing I oftentimes say is that religion divides us and spirit connects us. And why I think this topic is an important topic to ponder is that one of the things many thinking, loving, heartfelt people want in this world is peace. Peace and love. And I question whether we can get to that point if we have religions as they are now that are formed with dogmatic boxes where, quote, someone else would say, mine is better than yours. Mine is the only way. And even within a religion, take for example, within the Jewish religion, we are like a mere 3% on the globe. So you would think that with 3%, we'd all get along. We would be supportive of each other, and in some ways, yes, but in other ways, look at the women of the wall in Israel, women who would like to daven and pray at the wall. If they wear their prayer shawls and their and go to pray at the wall like that, or wrap themselves in their phylacteries as the men would do, the Orthodox men will throw chairs and rocks and spit at them. Is that religion? Is that what God wants us to be like? And then even in my small congregation that I had several years ago, when we had Reform and Conservative and Renewal and Reconstruction and Humanistic and Orthodox all together, there was always that tension of, well, what are we? Are we Reform? Are we Conservative? And I would say, why can't we be Jewish? Why can't we be joyfully Jewish? And then within that, we start picking at, well, who's more Jewish? Who keeps kosher? And who drives on Shabbat? And who intermarries? And it's like a scorecard as opposed to something loving. And I know this is true in all faiths, but I can only speak for my own. And yet, like I say, think about your faith. And those of you who go to services or who would consider yourself religious, let's look at the plus side first. The plus side is beautiful community, like another family, like a home. That is very valuable because you are wanted and you are part of that community. So that is a very big plus and a reason why religions, I think, are important. Last night at my trauma center, I'm still working. I'm hoping that they will be with us today. 2 very serious, critical, life-threatening accidents. One, a pastor in a church, a very young pastor, and another, a very young girl. And the church, from 2 different churches, pastors came and people came and friends came. And I met somebody in the hallway. They said, well, I want to find the church group. And I said, which one? Because we had 2 very active church groups praying and supporting and bringing food and wrapping the families in so much love. That is one of the beauties of religion. And that is the good, the very good, the support, the shared comfort, the shared vocabulary, the shared jokes. All of those things are very powerful and good. I found this slide while I was getting ready for today's show, though, and if you look at all of the various faiths, I love that saying, God is too big to fit into one religion. And yet, we all believe in a higher power. My brother is a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm a Jew, and we both thought that Mom loved us best. You know, that he would say, well, I think Mom is more of a witness. And I'd say, well, I really think she's more of a Jew. And yet she paddled the waters very well. And it's sort of like God. Does God love us better? You know, he created all of us, and we are all part of that God spirit. You know, where my belief system is that there is this beautiful God spirit, whether we call it God, whether we call it Allah, whether we call it energy, universal source, whether we call it Bob. I don't care what we call it. There is this beautiful God spirit, this power greater than ourselves that unites us all in this love. So in the sense that God loves me, whatever my faith is, I know he loves you, whatever your faith is. And that's where I think we need to get. And here's where I think religion has the ugliness. First of all, there are those who think they have to go to church to find God. But God doesn't live just in the church. God is everywhere. God's hanging out in this room with me right now. He's in the room with you right now. He or she or whatever, Bob, Bobette, I don't know. But so God doesn't just live in the church. So there are people who are obligated, feel obligated to go to the church. To me, any practice that you are obligated to do is not a healthy practice. It's toxic. I grew up in a Catholic community, and I remember the older women. I worked in a library, and they'd come to the library and they would pick the service because which one the priest gave the shortest message. What was the shortest service? And I'm thinking, first of all, you're feeling obligated to go, and you don't really want to go for the joy and the message and to be uplifted. You're going for the obligation and going to the shortest one. Is that what God or our higher power or energy would want for us? And one of a very poignant thing that happened to me when I had my congregation was Yom Kippur, and that is the holiest of all holy days. It's a somber day. It's a very holy day. It's a day you're in synagogue for hours upon hours, and the service was meaningful and was beautiful, and we're all together. And then I walked to the parking lot, and a man came running across the parking lot to say something very nasty. And I thought, where were you? You know, you sat there for 4 hours of worship only to be nasty in the parking lot. And think of the parking lots at your church. Hopefully everybody behaves and waves each other on, but how soon after a church service do we get nasty and critical and unreligious. So those are some of the things that concern me about religion. But where the big one is the religious wars that we fight. And we fight it because we fight it in the name of God, in the name of Allah, in the name of whatever we call our God. But do you think God really wants us to have these wars? And if we both think, or if we all think, that God loves us best and is on our side, we then are slaughtering others who are in God's image, filled with God's Spirit. That doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. So think about that as one of the ugly things about religion. When we draw the boxes, when we exclude non-believers. I found an article in our local paper, but I know it's an American situation all through, and it's the church shuts out Scouts, the Boy Scouts, because the Boy Scouts are being inclusive and welcoming to the gay community. And the question in the paper was, WWJD, what would Jesus do? And part of it says, this begs the obvious question, is it Christian to kick out the Boy Scouts due to this newly inclusive policy because it includes those of whom the church disapproves? Or more succinctly, what would Jesus do? And when I look at Jesus, I look at a person who taught, practiced, and was a total picture of love, of loving everyone. And so I already think what Jesus would do, the Boy Scouts would be welcome. And then they conclude the article. So it may be like the biblical parable, one about hope for changing the minds and hearts over time, even the ones locked in a very old church. So sometimes our churches get away from, if you're a Christian, what would Jesus do? Maybe if you're Jewish, it's loving your neighbor. Whatever our values are we getting away from them? So look at the box of your faith. Does that box include love for all of the God's Spirit people all around? Do you practice because you enjoy it and you're uplifted? Cool. Don't stop. I wanted to read you something from, one of my books, Living with Spirit Energy. But in this book, I talk about a message. I've always loved this part. It's in Deuteronomy. It's Deuteronomy 30, 11 through 14. And I think it is so true even today. So it says, God is telling Moses this, and he's saying, surely this instruction which I enjoin upon you today is not too baffling for you, nor is it beyond your reach. It is not in the heavens that you should say, who among us can go to the heavens and get it and teach it to us that we may observe it? Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, who among us can cross to the other side of the sea and get it for us and impart it to us that we may observe it? No, the thing is very close to you. It is in your mouth and your heart to observe it. And I look at that and say, God is close to us. He is in our breath and our heart. And that's really all we need to know to observe it. I love this poster. I'm going to share it with you. When we look at this, to me, this is where we need to be. How we can learn and live, and I'm going to add, and love together. How we can find commonality in all of our faiths. Yep, that's what I used to look like. And the Torah is such a beautiful thing, and yet oftentimes Jews say, well, a non-Jew can't come up and be by the Torah. And yet, if we are the light of the nations, then it's incumbent upon us to share the Torah with the whole world, So, think about the power of spirit and connecting. What does it take to connect all of us in the kind of love that I think God created for us, knowing that God is in our breath and our heart, knowing that the energy is pure love and acceptance, acceptance for each other as humans, because we, I think, are spirit beings created in that image of God on a human existence. So where do we find that love as humans? Where does God live? And how can we, I'm just using the word God translated to what works in your faith, whether it's higher power or energy source, but I'm going to use the word God for this. How can we put God into our lives and practice that unconditional love? Because it isn't Mom always loved me best or God always loved me best. I really think that within all of our faiths, God is there. And somehow, in order to find peace in our world, in order to find that connection, to end the religious wars, somehow we have to look to that, to our hearts, to our religions, and find what unites us, what we share. And to me, that's where spirit comes in. Religion is here where we maybe practice, but open it up enough that you can connect with the world in love and in spirit, in just that unconditional, accepting, forgiving, welcoming, understanding love. Where we are different in religion, in our boxes, seek to understand and accept. Don't seek to go to war and destroy, but to understand and accept. I was talking with Kimberly Burnham on our program on Monday. I forget what the topic was. Oh, it was Journey to Meaning. It's a book club we have at the Creating Calm Network on Mondays, and we're going to be looking at various religious books, somewhat Jewish based because Kimberly is considering converting to Judaism, but they all have intersections. So in September we're doing Roger Kamenetz's Jew and Lotus. In October, we're going to be doing one of two twins who, during the Holocaust, their mother converted them to Catholicism, and they re-meet where one is a Jew and one is a priest. So we're looking at intersections. So if you find this kind of stuff interesting, take a look and find Journey to Meaning, where we can meet with Kimberly Burnham and myself on Mondays, because we want to have these kind of discussions where we can find intersections, where we can find honor between us. Because in this mad and crazy world, indeed, we need to find that peace on earth, that way that we can love and celebrate each other. Because, and my hat has taken off, we are all mad here. The world is crazy, and it needs us to be together, to find that commonality. That crazy little cat. Anyway, I'm just having fun with you now, but think of these thoughts. Put them in your heart. Stir them up. And know that I am not against your religion. I'm in favor of wherever you find comfort, wherever you find community, but I'm also in favor of not making boxes that are so tight that we can't love, respect, and support each other. That's what I think. Anyway, if you like what we're doing, you're probably watching this if you're live right now on the Creating Calm Network, and if you're not, go to www.creatingcalmnetwork.com, sign up for our weekly program guide, because then you can see all of the nifty programs we have. You can see Journey to Meaning. You can be part of those discussions. The Creating Calm Network, it was a dream of mine 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago now in March. And my dream was to pull together inspiring, heartfelt change makers from all across the globe and to present uplifting and loving messages to everyone across the globe. And you know what? It's happening. It's beautiful, and we would love you to be a part of it. So please do that. Sign up for the weekly newsletter. Be part of this love fest. We have humor. We just started a new show called Miracles and Wonder Down Under, and the reviews I'm getting today are people are just cracking up and having a great time. So that's why you want to have the program guide, because sometimes you want to have a serious discussion. Oh yeah, like we did today. And other times, we may want to just laugh and enjoy life together. Remember, You're never too old to go out and play. Today would be a great day to go out and play. Do that. Do that. So it's been fun sharing my time and thoughts with you today. I'd love to continue this discussion. I have a Facebook post on this. It's got the picture of our friend the cat. I love this cat. Do you think it would make a good tattoo? And if so, where would I put it? So if you have comments, go find the cat, put your comments. I'd like to talk to you, or email me at ann@creatingcalmnetwork.com, and I'm Ann without the E. Have a beautiful day. Have fun, frolic, dance, do the wet dog wiggle. It's all good. I'm loving you, and I hope your day is just fantabulous. And shalom. Namaste.